Appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
All right. So let's start off this way. Just give me your thoughts on Sandra Day O'Connor passing.
Yeah, my gosh. So learned about that earlier today, obviously, when it first happened on our way to the floor to vote, actually. It was, what a legacy. What a legacy. I believe she's the most iconic and influential member in Arizona's history. The kind of trailblazer that she was and what she accomplished. I love her humble beginnings, getting all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States and everything in between. I talk a lot about the American dream, and she embodies that. I mean, she is a living example of it. For 93 years, she led and opened up the way for so many people in Arizona and across the entire country. So very sad to hear the news, obviously, but I'm very proud of being an Arizonan along with her and how she represented our state, through her entire life. Her legacy lives on, and we follow in her footsteps now as we are in public service ourselves.
Congressman, give me your thoughts on this letter that you wrote to Secretary Mayorkas and why you felt was necessary.
Yeah, so I have the letter here, and I'll tell you what, we've been on this pressure campaign on the administration for a long time now. And the numbers that we saw this week were now once again a record-breaking set of numbers, almost 3,000 in one day alone. These were monthly numbers before, and now we're seeing them almost on a daily basis, 15,000 in 1 week. Completely unsustainable. We saw the surge, and really what also did it was we started seeing CBP having to transfer officers and agents from the ports of entry, closing lanes, and also Border Patrol closing checkpoints to assign officers to go process and transport. It's not what they're supposed to be doing. They know that, and it just opens us up for even more danger, because through the ports of entry is where the majority of fentanyl comes into the country. So I wrote this letter to Secretary Mayorkas, strongly urging him to declare to deploy the National Guard to the border. Our agents need the help. We're working on bills that add more staffing to our border agents. However, that's not going to happen immediately, and we need an immediate help on this. So the letter outlines the reasons why this is important, which basically I just summarized for you right now, but it urges them to deploy the National Guard so the Border Patrol can get all the help that they need.
Are you hoping other congressional members, just members of Congress as a whole, will come together to give the funding and the support the border folks need?
There is a lot of unity around this issue. There certainly has been from the beginning on the Republican side, but I'm seeing more and more on that on the Democrat side as well. It is clear now, Michael, this is not a partisan party issue. In my district in Cochise County, we have mayors that are Republican mayors, Democrat mayors that all understand this issue. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, the communities are being impacted by this. And I think that's being reflected nationwide as well. You see what's happening in New York, what's happening in Chicago, what's happening around the country, that now you have Democrat mayors from sanctuary cities saying we can't take this surge anymore. It's out of control. So there is that attention on this for sure. We're dealing with some large issues, of course, border and other spending issues that we're balancing right now. But the border is the top priority, and I'm making sure that it continues to be. I had a meeting with the speaker about this, and I told him this is not a talking point, sir. This is not just something that we want to message on. This is the reality that my district is living in with every single day. And he understands that. The new speaker does.
We just got word that Lukeville is going to be shutting down Monday. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's another example of this. I don't know if you got a chance to see the images in Lukeville of what they did to a piece of the wall there, and they carved it out, and then you got people squeezing in using ropes and everything. That's a small port. That's a small port of entry but it leads right into the destination of Rocky Point, and obviously that back and forth traffic. That's not good for anyone, especially in this season. Now, why are they shutting it down? Because of personnel. They're overwhelmed, and they're having to transfer people and personnel to other places. This is, and here's the thing though, the traffic of people is not going to stop with the port being closed. That only puts us in more danger. So this administration continues to make the wrong steps in the wrong direction about this issue. It's frustrating.
There are some that would say, hey, listen, this is why we need to, as opposed to giving monies to the Ukraine and Israel, we got to give money towards this because this affects us. So what would you say to those people?
Well, I agree that this needs a lot of attention, and we have the funding for this. We have the I'm in the appropriations committee, so through that we have a way to support Israel, which we need to do. Ukraine is a strategic step for the United States, and also that's a longer conversation. But Europe needs to step in on this as well. We need to add accountability to this. And then the border as well. But I got to tell you, when I look at these are priorities for the country, for national security. They all serve in one way or another an equal or a similar purpose. But protecting our border is top of the line right there. It's the top priority. And the what we've passed so far has funding for that through the appropriations process. We just need to wrap up the spending bills, and we should be able to get there. Now, I've also been working on other bills that tackle the illegal activity, the cartels that are recruiting young drivers. I introduced a bill to address that. The spotters that are helping the cartels, introduced a bill to address that. The high-speed chases going through our communities in Cochise County, I introduced a bill to address that. So, I mean, I'm not staying calm here or slow on this issue. We're introducing as much legislation as we can while working on the funding as well.
Have you had a chance to speak to? I know you sent the letter also to Governor Hobbs. What do you expect from her?
Well, this should empower the governor to be able to to deploy the National Guard, but to have the federal government pay for that cost. That's the difference between the governor declaring her own deployment of the National Guard. If Arizona would do that, that would be on Arizona's dime. But if Mayorkas and Biden declare that, then the same personnel goes to the border, but now it's on the federal government's dime. And that's the way it should be, because this is a federal issue, and local communities and states should not be carrying the burden of the failure of the Biden administration on this. I come from the state, as you know. I worked for the Governor Ducey for 80 years, so I understand that side of it very well as well.